What is up everyone, it is me DevilNeverCry, and in today's video we'll be reviewing Persona 5 Tactica. Quite obviously, Persona 5 Tactica is a spin-off of Persona 5. It is a tactical RPG that is light on the social link / sim life elements that you can expect to see in the main game. The Phantom Thieves return once more, where yet again they are thrust into the heart of danger, and where a simple story often ends up crescendoing at a height no one could see coming. I won't delve too much into the narrative to avoid spoiling things for newcomers, but what I can say is that the plot largely revolves around the two new characters that are introduced in this game, Kusakabe and Erina. Characters that are believable enough in the words they say and the actions they choose, and well written enough that they fit in with the rest of the Phantom Thieves. As previously mentioned, this game lacks the life sim / social link aspects that you can see in the main series. However, if you are a fan of the cast and the world of Persona 5, there is more than enough interaction between the characters here to keep you satiated. And just like the main game, Joker is able to pick from a selection of different answers whenever presented with a question, allowing you to somewhat tailor him to your tastes. Overall, if you like the way Persona 5 handled its cast and story, you'll likely like Persona 5 Tactica, though there is one major difference. Persona 5 Tactica doesn't stick around and is a rather brief game, and quite honestly, the pacing of this game is one of its best strengths. I was able to beat the game in 25 hours, where I put another 12 hours in, clocking in at 37 hours to get the platinum by going through the majority of New Game Plus. To give you a sense of the game's layout, you'll typically start out at the hideout, where you're able to prep your party, before you move into interstitial cutscenes that typically convey and describe what exactly it is that you're about to do next. At which point, you'll then be thrust into several different battles that are stitched together with more cutscenes to add further narrative and context to what exactly the Phantom Thieves are trying to achieve. Once the Phantom Thieves' goal has been accomplished, they'll typically be back at the hideout, where you'll then be able to go on to whatever new quests or side missions that you've unlocked. The overall structure of the game lends itself quite well to the pick up and play nature, whether you're playing portably or on a console. Missions typically last from anywhere from 8 to 15 minutes, sometimes stretching beyond that if you're tackling bosses. This allows you to dive in quite briskly, make some progress, and then leave when you have to, without being locked into several cutscenes that take ages to get through. With that said, let's talk about what exactly you'll be doing for the majority of the game, and that is combat. Missions take place on a grid-based system, where different characters are capable of moving different ranges. Attacks, both ranged and melee and even persona skills, all have their own inherent range as well, allowing for a very tactical approach to achieving your goal. Whether your goal is to clear out the map of all enemies, survive for a certain amount of turns, reach a specific tile before time runs out, or take down a boss. The combat system is turn-based, and you're able to view the entire map and all enemy locations regardless of where your current party is, allowing you to really strategize your next move without the pressure of a timer running out. Many mainstays from the Persona series, such as downing enemies, baton passes, or all-out attacks, make a return, albeit some of them have shifted slightly in what they do. For example, all-out attacks only occur when you've downed an enemy and surround it on 3 different sides with your party. And a baton pass allows you to remove a downed player in your party for one that is sitting in the reserves. And unlike Persona 5, you're now able to equip personas to all of your party members and not just Joker. This means that party members will now have access to 2 persona skill sets at any given time instead of just 1. Lavenza and the Velvet Room also return, where they largely function the same. You're able to fuse together 2 persona to create a more powerful one, as well as use the special fusion feature to put together more than 2 persona to create one that's even more powerful. A new function added in Tactica, however, is the ability to fuse persona to create ranged weapons, typically ones that are more powerful than the ones that you can buy in the shop. As always though, I do recommend that you save before doing any fusion, as just like Persona games of past, sometimes fusions can go wrong and you can get a persona that you didn't want in the first place. Overall, I really enjoyed the tactical approach to combat in this game. The encounter design throughout the game was pretty great, with them getting more and more complex and difficult the further on you went into the game. I think there's enough mechanics here as well to keep players preoccupied and keep them engaged instead of just mashing their way to victory. As I went for the Platinum Trophy, it meant that I had to go for all of the awards on a mission to essentially get the 3-star rating. This meant that in each mission, not only did I have a main goal that I had to adhere to if I wanted to win, but there were also 3 other sub-goals that I had to complete before completing my main goal if I wanted to attain the 3-star rating, which typically gave me extra things such as more persona and greater currency. These sub-goals included things like completing a mission without having any of my team knocked out, or completing the main goal in under a certain amount of turns. I actually found some of these quite challenging and rather engaging, particularly when you're going through these stages for the first time, so you don't know if there are going to be more enemies that spawn in, or perhaps you're dealing with a new enemy type for the first time and you're not quite sure how their abilities work. If you're overall looking for challenge that goes beyond bumping up the difficulty, then it definitely is there. Some of these peculiar sub-goals also stretch to the side missions of the quests that I mentioned earlier. These sub-missions typically revolve around a set party and often have stringent rules and restrictions, such as wiping out all of the enemies on the map in just one turn. Completing these quests or side missions typically provides the party members involved with an extra amount of growth points. All of the Phantom Thieves, including the non-combative ones like Futaba, all have their own skill tree, and by completing missions for the first time, or replaying them, or even completing quests, and actually going and talking to your party members, you're able to attain these growth points, which will allow you to enhance players effectively to how you see fit. A lot of the skills in the skill tree are actually nothing to scoff at, and can make a tangible impact on gameplay, allowing you to again tailor some of these characters or your party members to how you see fit to suit your overall playstyle. Beyond that, we also can't talk about a Persona game without briefly mentioning the soundtrack. Tactica features its own bespoke soundtrack, of course, and it harkens back very much so to Persona 5. In fact, I feel it is more of an extension of that game's soundtrack than anything else. I guess what I mean to say is if you like Persona 5's soundtrack, then I'm sure that you're going to love the soundtrack here. It certainly didn't disappoint and served to heighten the emotional moments of the story, whether it was gearing up to take down the final boss or basking in a melancholic moment. And with that, I guess it's time for my overall final verdict on Persona 5 Tactica. I think if you enjoyed Persona 5, whether it's Royal or the original, it's safe to say that you're most likely going to like Persona 5 Tactica. Like Persona 5 Strikers, I think this is a fantastic spin-off and shows that Persona 5 continues going from strength to strength. If you're somebody that just likes tactical RPGs and doesn't necessarily mind wading into a narrative where they don't have the context of playing any of the other previous games, and you don't mind the anime-esque aesthetic, then you're probably going to like Persona 5 Tactica as well. Between the merciless difficulty and the award system, there's definitely enough here to keep the hardcore tactical RPG fans engaged. And with that, we come to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, do be sure to leave a like and subscribe, as there is more RPG content, believe it or not, on the way. With all that said and done, it has been me, DevilNeverCry. I'd like to thank all of you for watching, and as always, I'll see you all next video.